No matter if you're a filmmaker or a musician, the courage to tell your story authentically pays off. 1 minute left. Jesus, I haven't even started. Okay. My name is Tatjana Samopjan. I work as a creative development consultant in the field of storytelling. People used to need stories to get a contrast to their dreary, mundane reality, but for us today, the challenge is different. We are drowning in stories. They come at us for every possible direction. What does it do to a filmmaker or a storyteller? Well, other people's stories imprint on your mind. What people end up doing a lot of the time, and I see it constantly, is echo other people's stories. And that's done unconsciously. So how do you get away from that and find something fresh and authentic? We look at the world through murky, grimy glasses. The content that we see through is ideas, is concepts, is prejudice, is our beliefs, and it truly is our ideologies. So in order to tell an authentic story, you have to find a way to clean your glasses regularly. And it can be quite a disturbing process. You see this little person here, window cleaner, glass cleaner? Well, that's my role a lot of the time. When it comes to experienced storytellers, I don't help them with the craft. They don't need that. But they need to be reminded that they are projecting onto the world much more than looking at the world. I'll give you an example how this looks like. One of the best stories that was told about teenagers, the Norwegian series Come, was based on an incredible amount of research and deep interviews with specific teenagers at a specific school. And even though the director and the creator was a young person herself at the time, she assumed that she didn't know, and that's a great place to start. That story became a global success. Try to drop your preconceptions, try to drop your cultural programming as much as you can before you start writing. And I promise you, through the process of exploring this, you will change as a person. You will be cracked open in places you didn't know you had. The journey you've taken through really entering this issue with your mind, body, and soul will give that story texture and turnarounds and just components that you would have never been able to imagine if you only wrote from your head. But it takes a lot. It's not for the faint-hearted. That's why you need courage to do it. I had a wonderful teacher and a mentor who used to remind me all the time, whenever you think you know what's going on in the world, there's more to it. Now I'm going to contradict myself totally and say, you also need to step back. And when do you need to step back? When, if you're telling a story about your own life, a lot of the time the subjective experience is so discombobulating, it's so full of contradictions, and you yourself are unable to see the main themes, and the story is just going all over the place. Usually that's a signal you're not able to step back and you need help. So ask other people in your life, start with your friends, people who will challenge your way to interpret your own story and tell you you're full of it. It's not what's going on. To step back from your own story in order to see it. And lastly, I will give you a piece of advice that works for me. Every year I take a break from narratives as much as I can. For at least a month I go away, I switch off, I go off-grid. During this period, when I do not engage with any stories and I just try to stay as present as possible, something happens. And when I come back to my job, to my work, I can tell you I can see stories better. So the less I watch, the more I see. And I really recommend you to try to do that. There are 3 important things if you want to tell an authentic story. Dare to step in fully. Engage with the world, engage with reality. Second, dares to step back and don't believe that you're always an authority in your own story because your story may be confusing you. And 3, cultivate space with no narratives, however that shows up for you in your world. But if I want to boil it all down to a simple message, I would say it's all about loving reality and learning how to look at it, not through your eyes only, not through your mind, but through your heart. That's the way to go.